So when we talk about stocks, people often talk about Nvidia, Palantir, Oracle, but I feel one of the top 10 stocks in the US right now is actually getting not enough attention and love that I believe it should be getting. And that stock is the fifth most valuable in the world actually right now. And I'm referring to Amazon. You can see right now the market value, 2.5 trillion, which is almost half the one of Nvidia. At some stage, Nvidia used to be at 5 trillion market capitalization, so less than half of Nvidia. But I personally feel that it's still very much undervalued. Again, this is not stock buying recommendations, not financial advice. I'm just going to share with you my thoughts around the stock, why I have invested in it, and why I'll continue to do so. When we jump over to my portfolio, you can see right now Amazon makes up 8.2% of my overall holdings. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if this continues to go up, eventually even replacing my S&P 500 holding, because I'm so bullish on the company long term. And by the way, if you want to see my full portfolio update in real time, I have a link down in the description below where you can do just that, or scan the QR code on the screen and you will see all my holdings that I have in the portfolio, as well as any future updates to it. One of the reasons why I am also so excited to buy more of it, year to date they're up less than 7%, which is really underperforming even the S&P 500, right? Over a 1 year period, the S&P is up almost 15%, while Amazon is up only just shy of 11%. But I generally feel that Amazon is almost like a mini ETF because they're so diversified, so many different business avenues, not just AI, not just cloud. I mean, even if I compare it to Nvidia, right? They're much more concentrated with regards to chips. Now, I understand that chips are needed worldwide, right? I get it. Same with Broadcom or TSMC. I mean, very, very concentrated, while Amazon has so many different areas of monetization potential that they're already monetizing, plus future moonshot projects that they're actively working on. I'm going to go through a couple of those for you to get an idea of what they're really working on, which gets me so excited. I mean, it's like an octopus of a company, but instead of 8 legs, they have, 20 legs to stand on. So for me, I'm generally excited, and I'm actually happy that so far their performance hasn't really taken off, because I really feel that the downside is very much protected because they're already so strong and leaders in many fields they're operating in, while the upside, potential for price to increase going forward is still significantly higher, especially when we talk about profitability, because they're obviously actively working to integrate AI and robots and automation throughout all their various businesses, and that will have a massive positive impact on profitability going forward. And let me ask you, do you know which company has the most revenue in the world? Well, I was, to be honest, quite surprised. I wasn't aware that the number one is actually still so far Walmart of all companies. But who's number two right now? It is Amazon, even ahead of Saudi Aramco and some other companies you see over here. But generally, I think when you see that gap over here, I really wouldn't be surprised if either by the end of this year, if we see the fourth quarter earnings coming in, or latest next year, I really would bet that eventually Amazon will overtake Walmart, because they just operate on a completely different scale, global scale. They're rolling out so many new products. So it's just a question of time until Amazon will take over Walmart. And I'm sure in a couple of years, they might even be hitting 1 trillion. And I'll tell you why, because you will see the number of different businesses that are coming online. They might be the first company to ever hit 1 trillion revenue in a year, which will be absolutely bonkers and mind-boggling. So yeah, that's why you can see I'm so bullish and excited about the company. Again, please, this is not a buying recommendation. I might also be completely wrong, because don't forget, if we go back in time, Amazon during the dot-com bubble back in around 2000, from the peak, it fell by almost 90% in value. People would have panicked, right? And guess what happened? The internet didn't go anywhere. It just got bigger later on. So if you held on to your stock, during these rough times, you would have been handsomely rewarded. If we zoom out obviously further, you can see how it did over time when it just went upwards from there, up and up and up we went. So yeah, long-term investing definitely pays off if you invest in strong companies. And that's why I'm personally also not so worried when people talk about the AI bubble, even if there is a certain bubble and there will be corrections, which might happen, right? Who knows? But long term, I don't think AI is going to go anywhere. It's only going to get more and better and more efficient. So if there's a short-term reset, I'm actually happy because I can buy more of the companies that I truly want to invest in. And one big part of any company that I'm looking in is the leadership. And here the CEO, which many people even don't know. Everybody knew Jeff Bezos when he used to be the CEO, but he actually left the active CEO role a couple of years ago. And now Andy Jassy has taken over. And I really like this gentleman, right? Really toned down, focused on the business, not tweeting all day like some other CEOs out there. So I really quite enjoy the way he manages the company. I do listen to all their quarterly earning calls. You can use an app like Quarter, which I use personally. You can download on the phone, listen to those calls for free on the go while I'm in the gym. And it's really a pleasure, listening to how he speaks, how he conveys information. Very focused, very clear. And that's what I like. He doesn't hype up things that will happen maybe one day. For example, the satellite business, I'll come to this in a second. They haven't even mentioned really in the past. Only now, slowly, they're starting to address it, but they're already quite advanced in that field. So I like that they're really grounded and focused on what works and then future projects, let them play out first before they really, sort of try to monetize that. But at the same time, let's not forget about Jeff Bezos. He is still very much involved. He's the single biggest shareholder in Amazon. And honestly, I like the guy. Now, obviously, he's now very much focused on Blue Origin. Space race is on with Elon Musk and SpaceX. So they're working on this actively, which in a way can also work and help Amazon later on. We come to this with the Amazon Leo project, where they're shooting satellites into space to have internet worldwide available for different users. So that's really interesting as well. And he's still the executive chairman of Amazon. So that way he still has a certain influence on the company's direction. So yeah, good to see those two guys at the head, because I really enjoy the way they're thinking, communicating, and running the company so far. But yeah, let's touch on a couple of different business streams that I'm really excited about, what they're doing currently, and then we move to some of the moonshot projects, future projects that they're actively working on. The first one is, of course, that everybody talks about, the cloud computing market. It's one of the 3 AI hyperscalers. For AI to operate and scale, you need strong cloud infrastructure, and here AWS is by far the biggest one in the world. Now, others are catching up, granted, but you can see they have now 30% of the market is run by AWS, which is basically Amazon's cloud division. The second one is Azure from Microsoft at around 20%. And then we have Google Cloud with around 13%. Now, percentage-wise, that's why people were a bit hesitant about Amazon. They are growing faster, but of course their base is also slightly lower. So as a percentage, they're growing faster, but the overall total business is still number one leader, Amazon by far. And that's a big contributor, because here profitability of cloud business is actually quite high. So that's a huge revenue driver and profit driver for Amazon. Just look at the profitability over here. They have 50% gross profit margin of the whole company overall. So obviously some divisions have lower margins, like Amazon.com, delivery, grocery business has much tighter margins, but then some other business segments that they have, for example, cloud, has significantly better margins. So that's a huge, important business for them that they continue to grow. I think it's only going to get more and more as more companies are moving to the cloud. There's no way around it. To operate your own server structure locally, it's just not feasible for most companies these days. Then, of course, we have Amazon.com. I don't know about you, but I couldn't imagine a life anymore without Amazon. It sounds pretty dramatic, but it really is a lifesaver, especially for Christmas periods or gifts. Wherever I live, I can send gifts, to my family back home in Germany, or now we're moving back to Dubai, and there I can order anything, same day delivery. Absolutely love it, right? And the prices are usually the best you will find out there. It's so convenient. It's so nice. Generally, I don't like shopping online at all. So pretty much all my shopping is done on Amazon.com. And obviously more and more people worldwide are doing that. And now they even launched their own AI over here called Rufus, which is really cool. You can chat with that and ask it any question about a product. And I tried it out a few times, which is really nice, right? Previously, I had to go back and forth with ChatGPT to ask about a certain product. Now I can do it right inside of Amazon. Very easy, very user-friendly. I think more and more people are just going to use it because it's so convenient. Black Friday is about to come up. That's usually when I do my Christmas shopping, because I get great deals. I send the gifts to my place and then have them, and I just send them out whenever Christmas comes around. So just amazing. Obviously, that's their bread and butter business as well. And with this, they're obviously pushing very much Prime, right? Amazon Prime. If you're using Amazon a lot, it just makes sense to go with Prime because you get so many benefits, faster delivery, plus other things like Amazon Music, Amazon Video. So it really made sense. And you can see Prime Video has absolutely been surging advertising views, because now they're very smart. They give you access to Prime Video. In most countries, you do get free Prime Video and get to watch really nice shows. But then you also see some ads, and Amazon is quietly becoming one of the biggest ad players out there. Now, obviously still behind, the likes of Google, Meta, but they're really quickly catching up. In terms of views, of ad views on the videos, is actually now more than even Netflix with only 190 million. Now, they only recently introduced an ad-supported tier where you basically pay less, but you see ads once in a while, same like Spotify. You can pay for Spotify Premium or use Spotify Free and listen to a few ads, and that's obviously another revenue component for them. Then we have businesses like Twitch. Now, I'm not a streamer or gamer, so I don't use Twitch, but I know a lot of young people, they love Twitch. They're all day on Twitch, and Amazon owns Twitch entirely. So as gaming becomes bigger and bigger, that's obviously yet another way to monetize their audience on Twitch over here. Then we come to groceries, right? They're also really heavily pushing into groceries. They bought Whole Foods some time ago. That's where they're actively rolling out more and more groceries around the world. So far, it's still more limited, but it's coming more and more. And they're very smart to combine that. So next time you buy yourself online some gadget or some Black Friday deal, some socks or t-shirt, whatever it is, they might just have a pop-up before you check out and say, what about you grab yourself a steak and a milk on our grocery list and then add it to your basket as well, so it comes in the afternoon to your house right away. And why not, right? It just removes the friction of having to go to another place or physically going to the grocery shop. So I think they can really bring that ecosystem all together. So yet another very promising business potential. The same with Amazon Go. It's a really cool shopping experience, which I really enjoyed. I've been to one in London. You basically go in there, you scan your Amazon card or credit card, and then you just walk around there, grab whatever you want and walk out. and they basically have cameras everywhere, and they really can follow what you take and what you go out with. And that saves so much friction once again, because for me, the worst is going to the grocery market, putting everything in a trolley, take it out on the belt for the latest scan, then back into the trolley, then into the bag. It's just so cumbersome. And they really, once again, remove the friction, which Amazon is very, very good at. So that's another potential area for them to explore even further and roll out to more countries. Then, of course, we have Amazon Delivery, which obviously goes hand in hand with Amazon.com, the delivery website fulfilled by Amazon also, where they're now fulfilling on behalf of other companies. But yeah, ultimately, the parcels and deliveries have to get out to their customers, and they're really innovating on that. The robotic systems inside the warehouse are replacing more and more of their workers. They have one of the largest workforce in the world. Now, if they will be able to replace more and more of those workers with robots, that will have a huge impact on their profitability and efficiency, right? The faster that goes without human intervention, the better for the company returns overall. I think we're still so early, and eventually they might even license that to other companies because they're so cutting edge at such a volume that other companies might want to get their technology and systems from Amazon. Now, of course, they're being infused also with AI, their own AI systems. They're only going to get better and more advanced in the future. Even smart glasses for delivery, where they can track exactly what has been delivered and so forth. So really innovative stuff coming out from the company, even training the truck drivers before virtually, so they're ready to do the deliveries. And those trucks, eventually, we'll come to this in a second later, will also be self-driving. And then you're going to have robots jumping out of the trucks to deliver the last few meters to the doorsteps. It's not a question of whether it will happen, it's just a question of when it will happen. But not only that, they're now also working actively on drone delivery, right? More and more companies are doing that, but obviously Amazon with the scale will have a first mover advantage in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if in major cities in the future, you'll get a 60-minute delivery. You just bought something online, 60 minutes later, you're going to have it delivered to your doorstep. I mean, absolutely unreal. I think that's the future we're moving towards. But even beyond that, we have now Amazon One Medical. Apparently, in certain countries, they're rolling this out where you can have virtual consultations with different doctors. I mean, really, really incredible stuff. Now, I haven't tried it myself. Not sure I would do right now, but it's still cool that they're going after this market, right? It's a new market. And again, it may work out, it may not work out, but I do enjoy that they keep on pushing new avenues of exploring revenue potential. And that's what I love about the company. They're not just focusing on being the number one right now in cloud. That's great. They're still pushing this, but at the same time, they still want to have that startup mentality. In fact, the head office is actually called Day One Building, which Jeff Bezos came up with. I really like that. They want to have that day one mentality. Even as a behemoth global company, they want to keep on innovating and have that startup mentality. In terms of AI, they have Amazon Bedrock, which right now is more like a marketplace for AWS customers to operate within and use different models. Now, they do also have a partnership with Anthropic, who is behind Claude AI, which I really enjoy using. So they have some equity in there as well. But also when it comes to chips, they're starting to make their own chips and becoming better and better. And I like that they're not so reliant only on NVIDIA chips like some other companies. They're all chasing NVIDIA and giving them the monopoly. They're saying, listen, let's start designing our own chips. And it's really, really incredible to see how far they came. And I think it's going to give them a big advantage in the future, especially for their own AWS servers, because they can really optimize for that. So I think it's really interesting as a nice actually website where they describe how it all works and so forth, how a chip in general works. But even beyond chips, they now started working also on quantum computing, just like Google and Microsoft. So that's going to be an interesting race to the future, because obviously whoever comes up with this first is going to have a huge advantage over the other. So this is also going to be an exciting space to watch going forward for sure. Then we also have Amazon Zoox, which is their self-driving car. In a way, that could be a competitor to Tesla's robotaxi, or of course Google's Waymo, who is by far the market leader right now. So I'm not sure they have the global ambition to be the number one in the market, but I don't think they have to be, right? Even if the technology works really well, they could roll it out for the delivery fleet of vans in the future, right? So I think they're going after a different business model, but the fact that they're still working and exploring that technology as well, for me is exciting to see. So they are keeping up with what's happening and what people are demanding, and it's already working. So I've never unfortunately tried it. I would love to. I think more and more people are becoming more comfortable with self-driving cars. And personally, I would even pay more for such car than getting into a smelly Uber where I have a grumpy driver. So I think it's really exciting to watch. I'm sure they're going to roll it out to more and more places. You can see right now in Las Vegas and San Francisco. So I think it's going to take a few more years until we'll see it in other cities outside the US, but still nice that they're exploring this as well. And then one of the projects I'm most excited about, and that's actually what they call Amazon Leo. Now, they recently rebranded from Project Kuiper. I think a lot of people couldn't pronounce that. And again, that's what I like, right? Previously, they haven't really addressed that much during their quarterly calls, but now they officially took a stance. They called it Amazon Leo, even made a whole website around this. Now, right now, you can only join the waitlist, but basically, That's their answer to Starlink. They're going to be a direct competitor of Starlink, which has by far the biggest market share out there. But I think they're going to be a real competitor in the future. Now, right now, they have way less satellites, but it's going to be more and more. They have clear plans and a roadmap ahead. But their advantage is the user base, right? If one day they include it as part of Amazon Prime, for example, with a small surcharge, you get free internet, the fastest speed up to 1 gigabyte with your Prime membership. I mean, boom, imagine how many people would happily take this. Now, we live between 2 different countries, and every time I have to cancel, then start again my different internet connections, and it's really tedious. I would rather have one account with Amazon Leo and then have global coverage anywhere I go. That'd be really, really awesome. I think that would be a huge revenue potential that not many people are talking about, and I think that's not really priced in. And that's why I feel comfortable that the 2.5 trillion will significantly grow in the future. Now, obviously, they also need to deliver against that, but then again, they do have a strong history of operational excellence, of delivering on their promises. And now that they made it really public, I think there's pressure, there's eyes, and they're going to have to deliver against it. So I'm really bullish on that. And of course, again, this works also jointly with, as we spoke about, Blue Origin from Jeff Bezos' company, because they will be launching basically the satellites for Amazon Leo into Sky. And so there is certain synergy there as well. So I think there's mutual interest of having this project succeed. And lastly, of course, one big important topic is the energy and power that will power AI, clouds, chip manufacturing, all these various things. They need massive amounts of resources and especially energy. And that's why I'm super excited that they are now one of the first companies to build modular nuclear reactor facilities in the US. I mean, absolutely crazy. I think that's really going to be the future. Instead of huge nuclear reactors, we're going to have more and more those smaller modular ones in different places, powering whatever they have to. And this is really geared towards supporting their own infrastructure. It's not meant to be supporting the households around them. This is really focused on running their warehouses, their clouds, and so forth. Obviously, it's still very early on, and they already started training their employees, which apparently takes years. So it's a long way ahead. So obviously, this is not going to be over the next 2-3 years. That's a really long-term project. But once again, one of those moonshot projects, which I really think is amazing. And if they're successful with this, eventually, they might also roll out more and more and then power not just their own infrastructure, but maybe sell some of the energy to the city grid, right? Or else to other companies. So that could be yet another revenue driver in the future. So I think by now you kind of get an idea why I'm so excited about the company. When you look at the humble beginnings of selling books online basically to where they are today, so diversified. On the flip side, take for example a company like Netflix, great company, but for me they're too concentrated, right? I mean, it's mostly about entertainment and watching movies online. That's cool, but in 5, 6, 10 years, I don't know if people are still going to be watching Netflix. Maybe they're all going to be glued to their various social medias or a different platform, whatever it is. So for me, it's just too concentrated. Here with Amazon, even if 1, 2, 3 of their business avenues are failing, I think they have so many new projects in the pipeline that are still going to be relevant in the near future. And that's what I like about companies that I want to invest in for the long term. But I'm interested to hear from you. Which of the various business avenues are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, check out this video right here. As always, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.